Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today for Thursday morning, August 5th, 2021. The man they call Meathead and the M.O.T.S. You got the M.O.T.S, huh? The M.O.T.S, the Matthew on the street, the man on the street. It's Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. Top of the morning to you on this. I was going to try to do the M.O.T.S, but for Thursday, and that would be you could also do Thomas on the street, and the same acronyms work for Thursday on the street.
Matthew on Thomas Street. I don't know.
I'm sure there's a Thomas Street. There's a Thomas Street somewhere.
Good morning, Matthew. We got some news to get into, but I'm awash in it. I want you to tell everybody who sponsors the program.
You would be referring to Collar and Elbow Brand, maker of collar and elbow brand clothing, available at collarandelbowbrand.com. And I believe they've still got their $10 worth of free collar and elbow money going on, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we want to use that promo code too. What's the promo code?
That's promo code is free10. Is that correct?
I think it's free10. And then what's the promo code we use here on PWR today?
FREE10. And you can also use promo code Linda K, LINDAKAY.
That's right. Get yourself some stuff. I got brothered up today. Brother me softly. I got brothered up with more collar and elbow gear. And again, I'm just, like I said, I'm awash in T-shirts this last week. They're just coming left and right. The mailman is probably wondering what the heck is going on if I'm living in my house naked because I don't have any clothes and I'm waiting for the mail to come. But no, I got my T-shirts. I'm a happy camper. I've got my collar and elbow gear, courtesy of Uncle Alan, collarandelbowbrand.com. Let's talk about commercials and let's get into some news here. And that's kind of why I wanted to go this way. During Dynamite last night, did you see a brand new commercial featuring a beer made famous in Milwaukee?
I did. It grabbed my attention, and quite an interesting ad with an eclectic group of characters.
Name them off.
Well, you had Matt Cardona, you had Swoggle, you had Chelsea Green, and you had I'm missing the last one.
Ooh, Kurt Hawkins' real name?
Yes, I'm missing Kurt Hawkins' real name.
Well,
but close enough.
There was another in there too, but that was for Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, nice to see a wrestling beer ad. I don't feel like we see enough of those.
Brian Myers, by the way.
That's exactly what I was looking for.
The last real professional athlete, I believe, or last real wrestler. Isn't that what his moniker is now?
Or is it I think it's the most professional wrestler, right?
The most professional wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I messed up. Brian, I hope you don't hate us, but yes, you are the most professional wrestler. So
well, he's gonna like me because I got it right.
You couldn't even think of what his name was.
Yeah, but once I was given a little bit of a nudge, then I really did well.
Well, it was interesting. The reason this commercial is out there, and one, we love us in PBR. You know what, Matthew? I think it's time for a treat. Are you ready for a treat?
I am.
Let me get up close to this microphone and make love to this microphone here. Make love to all you listeners here. There was a Pabst Blue Ribbon commercial that used to air way back in the late 80s, early 90s. Now, we all know I'm a dork, right? And, as a young kid when the Brewers were just terrible, but I still was a huge Brewer fan in the late 80s. I loved to listen to me some radio Brewer games, right? This commercial came on during almost every half inning. What do you have? Down home flavor. What do you have? Country flavor. Give me a Pabst Real True Blue Ribbon, Pabst Blue Ribbon beer.
That sounds like a nice little ditty.
Go ahead and search for that on the old YouTube there. Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. So corny. To be completely honest, though, it's an acquired taste. It's sometimes, if you don't drink it super cold, can taste like warm sweat.
Yeah, so that's why you want to keep your PBR ice cold.
PBR me, ASAP was also a moniker they used to use back in the day. But hey, Pabst Blue Ribbon getting some love. They jumped in on the wrestling game, and they honestly tweeted out towards Domino's and said, look, if you don't want to advertise during TNT, Dynamite, AEW's Dynamite, we'd be happy to have that spot. And they aired a spot with Chelsea Green, Matt Cardona, Brian Myers, Swoggle, a local legend here in the Wisconsin area, Swoggle. And again, there's some other characters that were in there. Matthew, what's your other favorite? I mean, not I mean, we're not talking John Cena. We're not talking The Rock. We're not talking WWE, with Dolph Ziggler being the Colonel Sanders. What's some of your favorite wrestlers that have showed up in TV commercials?
Man, I can I'm sure there was you know what I'm actually enjoying right now that I think of it, just because of the absurdity of it. I like the idea of Stone Cold Steve Austin cold calling people and telling them to wash their clothes in cold water.
With iced tea.
With iced tea, honestly, that might actually take the cake, because it's something you don't expect, and just the idea of a cold call, no pun intended, to wash your clothes in cold water. I just, if I had my landline operational and I got a call from somebody telling me to wash my clothes in warm water,
listen here, this is Stone Cold Steve Austin making sure that you wash your dirty ass underwear in cold water.
And it doesn't even have to be Stone Cold. I think anybody I would appreciate a call from somebody telling me, how to wash my garments.
I got two of them. One, we talked about this before we went on the air. One of my favorite, most recent ones from a local talent, Silas Young from the Milwaukee area, the last real man in Ring of Honor for a very long time, talking about screaming Sicilian pizzas. What is this? I'm the last real man. Talking about the mustache pizza, basically, was what it is. But on a national level, how about L.A. Knight? Yeah. And Ric Flair talking about like car insurance.
Yeah, that's the first time I saw it, it was unexpected and kind of an unexpected combination, but that does work.
So yeah, PBR Me ASAP is now on AEW on TNT. Now, you said you want somebody to cold call you and tell you how to wash your garments.
Yeah.
What if it was Max Caster calling you and going, yo, your underwears are dirty. I try to get flirty.
And then I would want no part of that, man. I would hang up. I don't want him doing his rap thing at me.
And then he starts talking about stuff like the Duke lacrosse team and the alleged rape, or the Simon Biles and her mental health issues.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's kind of what he's going after these days. So he's on the other end, man. I'm hanging that phone up.
It was a mistake. He made a huge one. I hope he recovers from it. That's really all I got to say about it. He is not right. I want to see an apology, and let's move on. That's really where I'm at with that.
And, I haven't listened to it. I've read a little bit of the transcript, but it sounded like Tony Khan did make those statements in no uncertain words, I believe, today on Busted Open.
Yeah, so, and I love that Tony Khan had that pipeline, too, to head on over to Busted Open because, out of all the professional wrestler talents that are on Busted Open, Bully Ray, I would think, might be somebody that we should see show up in AEW. Would you want to see him as a coach?
100%. And if he was, regarding how he felt being in the ring, man, I'd like to see him in an AEW ring. I really enjoyed the Bully Ray run in Impact. I mean, that was him at the absolute top of his game, that singles run he had there. And unfortunately, kind of like the situation with Matt Hardy, I don't believe WWE capitalized on it when they brought him back for that short run.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about a very short run, a one-night-only run on Dynamite, as we start off with AEW talk from last night. The Juice was let loose on Dynamite last night, and he was going to wrestle Jericho in Labor 3 of the 5 Labors of Jericho. What did you think of Hoovy's look?
You know what? It was I hadn't seen him in a long time, so I didn't know what to expect.
It was fun to see him. I was happy.
Yeah, it was good to see him, and it really took me getting this match in front of me to kind of understand the stipulation that it was apparently just Jericho who had to win off the top. Again, these labors, the way that they're going to turn out, but at the same time, as the match progressed, I liked the psychological element of, okay, how exactly is Jericho gonna win?
He ends up winning with the Judas effect from the top rope, which, and again, I wondered this part too, and then it played out in front of us. If he was going to go for a pinfall without a top rope maneuver, would he be disqualified if she counted to 3? No, Aubrey Edwards said, that pinfall does not count. You have to do it from a top rope move. Okay, cool. Judas effect off the top. 1, 2, 3. Jericho gets beat down by Wardlow right after. And MJF comes out from his commentary position to let us know, if you haven't guessed it already, next week you get Wardlow with special guest referee or special ringside or whatever he's going to be next week. MJF.
Yeah, it was kind of a broad description. I mean, at first I thought he was just going to accompany him to ringside, but then I believe the way the announcers put it over with, it sounded more like a referee role. So kind of like last night, I imagine we'll have to tune in next week to see exactly what we've got.
There's more build between the Lucha Brothers and Andrade El Idolo and Chavito. I wonder if they're trying to make a little, I don't want to say LWO, but maybe a Latin group and taking Pac away from the Lucha Brothers and breaking up the Death Triangle.
Yeah, I don't know, but the good thing is, we got progression last night, and that's one thing AEW is doing so very well. To their credit, they seem to be doing a very good job of keeping track of all their active storylines and making sure that needle moves a little bit each week, and name any type of promotion you want to. You've got so often you have storylines that just get forgotten about or, get put there and picked up 3-4 weeks time. If it's not a match, if it's not something in ring, how many weeks did we get the Miro promos? They do a good job of keeping their people on your television and keeping it, even if it's just in the back of your mind, remembering what programs these people are involved in.
They've got a lot of talents coming in through the company, coming into the company. We didn't even get to this. I'm going to bring it up now because I forgot to. There is talk Riott could be showing up in AEW within the next week or so. One of the bigger releases, I believe, in June. Is when they let her go. With Rampage coming next week, Friday, do they have enough talent or do they need some more names?
I think they're getting there. I think they're really at that potential happy medium where the more people you bring in, I mean, you always run the risk of potentially putting some of your quote unquote homegrown talent on the back burner. I don't think they're there yet. I think they could be if it's not done very, very deliberately. So, again, they're going to have an extra hour of TV. If they keep everything the same, you're looking at quintessentially 6 hours of TV, 3 basically on actual TV proper, 3 on the internet. But I think that they are getting there. I think Ruby Riott would be a very good addition because, as we'll probably get to a little bit later with Red Velvet, I don't think they're doing a great job in the women's division building up formidable foes for Britt Baker. And I think that would be a very worthy addition. And honestly, I'm fine with if you bring her in, give her the Goldberg treatment. Put her right to the top of the title picture because that you need something interesting. And not to skip too far ahead, but Red Velvet going to Britt Baker last night, it kind of fell flat for me.
Okay. Trios match, which was Darby Allin, Eddie Kingston, and Jon Moxley. What's Sting coming out against 2.0 and Danny Garcia? 2.0 is Jeff Parker and Matt Lee, formerly known as Everrise in NXT. This match did nothing for me other than we got a cool little picture of Eddie Kingston, Jon Moxley, and Sting throwing up the Too Sweet sign.
Yeah, and I mean, it was more or less kind of put there to premiere, 2.0 and saying, hey, look what we got.
Okay. I need something else from 2.0. Yeah. Let's see what we got. Again, I don't want to rag on these guys because, I mean, they're doing the job that they need to do, but I need something more. The Elite backstage, I thought the Space Jam tie-in would be over. It's not. And I don't like the basketball thing. Not at all, especially when the basketball season's over. Space Jam thing is past. I understood it coming up to the release of Space Jam. And, there's a new movie coming up on this Friday from HBO Max, which TNT is part of the Warner Brothers family, right? So there's this synergy there. However, the basketball thing doesn't work for me. I'm just saying.
No, and I think that, unfortunately, what they're doing with the Elite now, and, whoever they're going to put Omega against next, they're really going a route where these are your heels and we want you to boo them. And with the reputation that entire stable has had, and with your AEW fan base, I think there's always been the likelihood, no matter what you do with Kenny Omega, the Bucks, the Good Brothers, with that entire stable, that there's going to be fans, especially there at Daly's Place, that want to see these guys win at the expense of whoever they're up against. You're not there right now. And it's a lot of, I feel like it is a mixture of, okay, we don't like these characters and we don't like the job they're doing with these characters. They're doing stupid stuff with these characters to make them unentertaining to us. They're getting the desired response. My concern is damage.
This is the Jeff Jarrett X-Pac response.
Exactly. It is, my concern is it is the get off my TV type of heat.
Yeah.
And I think they're really the formula, honestly, and I especially saw it dialed up when we had the new versions of the facial hair. It's like, how silly can we make these people who, are consistently ranked as some of the best wrestlers in the world?
Big LG, Luke Gallows has been dialing up his silliness too.
Yeah.
And I still love him, but dude, seriously, Bling Daddy or whatever he's calling himself lately, that's a lot.
And I think that's what they're going for. And I mean, no matter where you take these guys, whenever they come out, no matter where you're at on the road, we're getting a pretty strong chorus of boos. Again, the desired effect they're going for, but there is the concern there that you are potentially devaluing some of your talent that you have built this company on.
Yeah. Let's talk about a singles match between Christian Cage and the Blade. Christian was going to win this, right? Yeah. We knew this going into it. There's talk that Adam Page will not be wrestling Kenny Omega at the next pay-per-view for the AEW Championship. And this all looks to be coming to fruition, but we'll have more to it, right? Christian Cage, after his victory, skipping ahead, but talking about this, after his victory over the Blade, is now the #1 contender in AEW. And I see it as Omega and Cage to kind of go head-to-head with SummerSlam.
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you.
Yeah. And it's a much different match than Goldberg Lashley, but it does bear some resemblance into the Goldberg Lashley and the fact that I don't feel like it is the proper use of Christian Cage at this juncture, because I don't know that there's many people that are going to go into
he
that.
Didn't get it in the first month when he walked in.
No, I mean, the ranking system has come through, to a certain extent, but I don't think there's going to be a lot of suspension of disbelief that Cage is going to walk away with that title. And honestly, I don't know, for a young startup company like AEW, there's going to be many people who even want that to necessarily happen. So it just feels like, what I would much prefer, how I would prefer Cage being utilized is if, say, you're not going to give Page the title match this time, give me Christian and Page in, one-on-one. Give me somebody he can go up against that
give me a specialty match as well, please.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, say if you didn't even do Butcher and Blade and Cage last night, mm-hmm. I would take Blade and Cage at a pay-per-view and, potentially have that as a big win for somebody you're trying to build up like Blade. I just don't think that the proper use right now is having him, main eventing one of your pay-per-views for that title, in just a few short weeks.
We talked about it last week, trying to figure out where it happened. I did not need it zoomed in on.
Oh my goodness, man.
What the I didn't want to see that.
As bad as anything we saw in last week's main event.
That was we saw that with Moxley that time too. Remember, Moxley had some skin stuck to him. What was that, a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, that was in
the barbed wire outside.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that. Okay. I literally watch with my hand in front of my face. Yeah. I don't want to see it. Yes, I know these guys are hardcore. Yes, I know these guys are going out 100%. It doesn't need to be like that. Okay? Make it special. Special effects only special when it's done once in a while. Getting way too much hardcore. That's just my opinion. Tony Schiavone interviews Britt Baker, DMD, and then Red Velvet does come out. Red Velvet DMD for the Women's Championship will be the main event on the debut episode of Rampage next week. Is Red Velvet ready?
She's as ready as she's going to be. I mean, it's going on in Britt Baker's hometown.
22-4 with 7 straight wins.
Yeah, but again, again, what are you doing in the women's division where that's not emphasized? I don't know that until you come out and declare,
right.
For the title match. Like if that's the case, if she's on a tear, I never see her winning weekly on Dynamite. I guess it's happening on Elevation and Dark. But
Yeah.
my goodness, don't that's where, I'm having some issues with these rankings is, don't neglect, and then finally, what they're doing with these rankings, whether it be her or whether it be Christian Cage, the rankings, unfortunately, they're more of a thesis statement when you want to put somebody in a title match as opposed to anything that are necessarily being built on week to week. And what I'm so curious about too is how are we determining number one contenders for the TNT title? How am I just seeing? And I think it's effective. I think the fact that we've got Miro basically squashing these people it's effective, but how are you getting your, TNT contenders?
So I saw a sign during this segment that I want to point out, and it kind of circles back to what you said with the Red Velvet thing and up to this Britt Baker DMD thing. We need more women's stories.
Yes.
Did you see it?
No, I missed that sign.
No, it absolutely was ringside up on that raised little balcony area.
Yeah.
It's absolutely what we need. We need more deeper stories. We have stories with all the other guys, right? I need deeper stories with the women. Get me more invested. Just the matches and the women putting on these great athletic competitive matches is cool, but it's not enough to draw me in anymore. This isn't the 1990s where a women's match that goes more than 4 minutes with 3 wrestling holds, you going, oh my God, right? It's 2021. All the women can wrestle. I need stories now to go with it.
100%. And we go back to looking on a weekly basis on Dynamite, and last night I think was higher than it is a lot of weeks. But if you go and look at how that program is split up, and it's not 50-50 in WWE quite yet, but it's a lot doggone closer than it used to be. And I think AEW, you're going to find those ratios on a weekly basis are just not there.
So we finally, I guess they weren't heels yet because they hadn't had any actions, but we go back to Andrade El Idolo and Chavo Guerrero, and they're beating up this dude, Fuego del Sol, who they're telling him that he's got to kiss his feet or shine his shoes or something like that. So now they're heels. All right. So now we got something, and threatening the Lucha Brothers to break up the Death Triangle. I like this progression here. Adam Page is in the ring. It's better than Adam Rage in the Ping. Adam Page is in the ring with Tony Schiavone, interrupted by the Elite. Adam Page earlier in the night said that he wanted to go out on his own. He's going to have to break up the band for a little bit, and the Dark Order is going to have to stay to Dark Order. They're getting really corny for me, by the way, too. Yeah. You got Evil Uno talking about people's feelings. So Adam Page has the Elite come out, and it's all 5 that wear the belts, plus Takazawa and Cutler. So it's 7-on-1, really. And Adam Page swings at Omega. They start the beatdown. Here comes the Dark Order, and they stop them. They stop each other from doing it, and they're laughing. Here comes Frankie Kaz, the Elite Hunter. He gets beat down as well. This needs to be this way. Adam Page needs to fight his own battles.
Yeah, 100%. And I think now is the time to pull it away. And honestly, when Page gets that moment, I want that moment to be with Page himself because he is an absolute star. I think if you had that moment and you had the Dark Order right there celebrating with him, it just feels strange. And, you did such a great job with your storyline last year as far as Page and the Elite. And, here's the thing, not to take anything away from that video package last week. I still think that was one of the best wrestling video packages I've seen in a long time with the intro to that 10-man. The 10-man tag, not the 10-man like 10-man Scarecrow and the Lion. That'd be a different entrance to a 10-man. But anyway, no, I think Page can potentially be your biggest star in that company, and it is as close to a homegrown talent as AEW has right now because Page was on the radar prior to AEW, but it was not in the same regard as Omega, to where you hear people that were kind of familiar with his work or familiar with what he did in Japan saying, hey, this guy who's coming to AEW is all this. I feel like Page, more so than anybody, was discovered in AEW for quite a few people. And there is just there is a coolness factor that is just naturally there, that is just, very, it feels very natural. And I think that is the guy that you need to, no pun intended, hang your AEW hat on.
In what I consider a squash, Miro defeating Lee Johnson with Dustin Rhodes at ringside with him. Real quick, also Lance Archer footage of him laying out Dan Lambert. Remember I said I was watching Bound for Glory 2017? Mm-hmm. Dan Lambert was on that as well. He had Bobby Lashley, King Mo, and I forgot who else was on the team. Moose, I think, was on there as well. So Dan Lambert coming to Dynamite next week. Going to come after Lance Archer, and he's bringing backup. Who do you think he's bringing with him?
He's bringing some of his friends.
I was about to say thank you for being a friend, but somebody already sang it last night.
Oh, that's true. I remember that. Yeah, I remember hearing
that. But my favorite part is because, I got kids and they hear the My Little Ponies and the Trolls, and it's, if you threw a party, invited everyone you knew. Sorry. All right. The announce team for Rampage next week has been revealed. It is a 5-man booth? 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they're going to rotate in the talent, honestly. Okay. I think your play-by-play is Excalibur, and I think it's rotated between Henry, Taz, and Jericho. Jericho, if he's in a match, obviously he'll be down at the ring. But Excalibur can call matches, right? I mean, there's no question in my mind that he can call matches. Does that mean that he's off of Dynamite permanently and goes to Rampage? Or is he split duty?
I don't know. I don't know. And then you got to look at who goes play-by-play on Dynamite if he's not there.
They're dual. I mean, we've been asking that since, it, 18 when it debuted or 19? I think it was 19.
Yeah.
We've been asking that. What it was JR and Shivani, and then this guy Excalibur that we hadn't heard much about. Yeah. Who's going to be play-by-play? And they just take turns. That's all it is. It's both of them are play-by-play.
Yeah, and, and here's the thing, man. If you just gave me JR and Tony and let them riff off of each other, I'd be okay with that. I mean, that is
I'm okay with it to a point. I need a younger voice in there. I can't have nostalgia Tony and nostalgia JR.
And I want to elaborate a little bit too on a little bit of what I've noticed with Tony that is starting to be pretty consistent. The distaste that Tony tries to voice for heels is coming across a little bit over the top, especially with MJF, talking about how dastardly and disgusting of a person it is. I get it, but here's the thing with Tony and the way he's going about it. It's not, calling MJF interfering in a match. It is him continually ruminating about how much he dislikes him as a person. And I don't
He's not the only one. I'm hearing the match in my head right now from last night. JR was all over it too.
Yeah, and I think that type of stuff is more effective when you're calling a certain action despicable, as opposed to this trying to put this heel over as just a despicable person. Maybe I'm in, maybe that's just me, but that's kind of what's been sticking out to me.
Yeah. Excalibur plays the foil in those particular situations and lets Tony and JR go at each other and just, call out the dastardly heel, and then Excalibur calls the match. Let's talk about another match here, and let's talk about the NWA World Women's Championship Eliminator match. They explained to us why Serena Deeb was supposed to come back, and she got hurt, and she's having knee surgery. But Christian offered to help out Layla Hirsch, legit Layla Hirsch, and she said, no, it's okay. I got friends. I've got best friends. Don't worry. So here comes Chuck Taylor, here comes Chris Statlander, Orange Cassidy, and Wheeler Yuta to take on the Bunnywood, and Helico, Isaiah Cassidy, Jack Evans, Hora Joel, Mark Quinn, and the Blade. So, again, everybody getting a paycheck for making TV appearances, right? The winner of the match and the new #1 contender for the NWA World Women's Championship, legit Layla Hirsch. They brought in Camille into the ring, the NWA Women's Champion, and holy smokes, the size difference.
Yeah, now, correct me if I'm wrong. I thought the terminology that AEW used in an eliminator match was basically more or less a non-title match, where you wrestle the champion in a non-title match.
They used it differently.
Yes, they did. Yep. And I did not mind that in AEW because the thought process is, okay, if you can beat them, you get a title shot. If not, you go to the bottom. Very, very interesting here.
Here's what they also kind of led us to believe too, and this could change, that legit Layla Hirsch is going to NWA to represent AEW in the match, not that it's happening on Dynamite. That's not clear yet. So they led us to believe that this match will be on NWA. Excuse me.
And again too, I like the NWA involvement, but again,
Forbidden Door.
This is a segment that could have been used to build some of that AEW women's storyline, and we're just kind of doing it. Oh, this is that other title. This is an eliminator match.
A lot of belts flying around in AEW, right?
And you're having their champion on your TV for the first time. So we want you to tune in. We want you to be invested in this. However, you've never seen the champion on our TV. Let's put it in the audience. Looking. Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I mean, hopefully it gets, some heads to NWA, and especially, I'm very intrigued in the pay-per-view.
Who's still running the NWA, right? A man that thinks the world is a vampire.
Yeah, no, he's that's his baby.
That's his baby. Billy Corgan still owns NWA. Finally, the main event: Cody Rhodes against Malakai Black. First off, thoughts on the entrance on Malakai?
Superstar. I mean, it was a very well done entrance, and they have done a great job of building him to make him feel important. His entrance did not derail that one bit.
My notes on this entire match are very small because this was a squash. Malakai blew through Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes spent more time in the ring talking about how he may have to leave, and started to do the wrestler retiring gimmick where he was going to take his boots off and leave him in the ring. Got one boot off. I love his fancy blue socks. And then Malakai came back and hit him again. So is Cody retired? Is he not retired? Did Malakai take a spot?
So many different ways that you can look at this. I want to say a couple things that I really liked. I liked the fact that you had a table spot that was not choreographed so far in advance, that was not somebody coming out cleaning off a table. This reminded me a lot of some of your initial WWF table spots.
Where he flew off the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It did look a little staged, but we didn't see it staged, so it helps.
Exactly. And I mean, Cody had to jump to hit the table. It was a nice little jump, but it reminded me a lot of the Diesel Bret Hart spot from 95 or something before you saw it all the time, where Diesel just grabbed the ropes while Bret was on the apron and Bret went into the table. I like that. And it was a squash, but it was done with much more story than a typical squash is done. That was the big spot, and Cody's able to get back in the ring. And whether they were able to not go the traditional route of Cody mustering up an offense, acting like a table spot didn't hurt him. No, he gets back in the ring. He gets kicked. He's covered with Black's foot. And, as a wrestling fan, you are conditioned to think nobody ever wins that way. Basically, that is a cocky move. He's going to do that.
Yep.
JR is going to be all over top of him for not hooking a leg and doing that type of cover. Nope. That to me is a much more definitive win than any of your traditional squashes, because he covers him with a foot.
And I loved everything.
Yes, I loved everything about this segment.
He's a star. He's absolutely a star. They are coming to Milwaukee. I know they're going to Pittsburgh next week. I believe Milwaukee's the week after that. It might be 2 weeks. I'm not sure. But I'm excited to get to Milwaukee, because after Milwaukee is Chicago, and then Chicago is pay-per-view time. So I'm ready, Matthew. I'm ready for AEW to hit my town.
And what some great wrestling cities are running to?
Yeah, the Midwest, obviously, very historic wrestling area. The Midwest, home of the AWA. I know their home base was Minneapolis, but they always ran Milwaukee, Green Bay, Chicago. Literally, we watched Hulk Hogan before the country watched Hulk Hogan. We knew Mean Gene. We knew Jesse the Body Venturas. I watched Big Scott Hall before he even made his way up into WWF as Razor Ramon.
Not to be confused with Denver, Colorado, which I believe is home to the Rocky Mountain AAA.
Gotcha. Yeah. The Brewers AAA affiliate used to be the Denver Zephyrs.
Yeah, well, the AAA over here, they keep a few more tire irons and jacks with them, though.
Gotcha. Well, I am glad to hear. So, Matthew Thomas, that was a long 30. We didn't even do a crisp 20. I think we're at 30 plus minutes already. We're gonna get you to stop talking so much.
we're at a thick 30.
A thick 30. That was my nickname in college. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. Hey, thanks for stopping by. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. So long, everyone.